have people tuning in, Chris. So what do you have lined up for us today?
Well, as you know, I have long been curious about the connection between science and spirituality.
Yep.
So I have invited someone on today that I think really has her focus right in that area.
Okay, awesome. Well, science and spirituality, those are right up my alley. And the line between science and spirituality kind of continues to blur. So I bet a lot of our viewers have interest in that as well.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm really excited about the topic. So I think everybody's going to be really interested to talk to this lady as well. So she's science-based psychic and empath. She studied quantum physics for 6 years while she was in the process of writing a young adult novel, which I think is really cool. She is a channel, and she's developing a new self-discovery type course that'll be available in February, I believe. She's a hypnotist, and she specializes in past life regression.
Okay.
So we're going to get to talk to her a little bit about that today. Probably not. And so her purpose, she says, is to make magic mainstream and to help others see the wonder and magic in everything.
Excellent.
So I am super excited to welcome to that CBD show my dear friend Isabel Zimmerman.
We know Isabel. Hey, Isabel.
Hi, Isabel.
Hello, my friends. How are you?
Great to see you. You're in Connecticut.
I'm in Connecticut.
All right.
Welcome.
It's awesome to have you today. So let's get started. I want you to tell our viewers, if you would, Isabel, a little bit about your history and what took you from being someone who was in the process of writing a novel for young adults to the work that you're doing now.
So nothing is by accident, right?
Right.
And whether you are aware or not, you are always being led. I'd like to call them my mentors on the other side, my non-physical team.
So all the ones we can't see.
Yeah, the unseen.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot that is going on in the universe. The universe is wonderful and magical. It is our belief systems that keeps our focus narrow at times. How we are raised, our society believes in reading, writing, and math as important criteria to be a successful adult. And I am an avid reader. I'm a mad researcher, and I gravitated towards science. And it was really, I had my daughter, and I was done with the Harry Potter books. And I swear to goodness, I was just like, what am I going to read now? Oh, and that's when I started on my journey writing a young adult fantasy novel.
Wow.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, what am I going to write about? I'm going to write about the things that I love. And one of the things that I love is quantum science and fairies. And so I smashed it together.
Wonderful.
Researched fairies. I uncovered that fairies existed in the Middle East and their word was peris. And I went, oh, that's so interesting that peris and fairies were similar.
Okay.
And anyways, that's how I dived into the beginning of that journey.
All right. Very, very interesting. That's really, really cool. So this connection between science and spirituality, that's something that has always fascinated me, or at least in this 20-year journey that I've been on. So as it pertains to your work, how do you see that connection most frequently between science and what we consider to be spirituality?
Okay, so quantum science, because I studied it for 6 years, quantum science is really about the law of potentiality. In the spiritual realm, it is about the law of potentiality and setting your intention and focus. And so understanding how energy works in the physical world helps you understand how energy and intention works in the spiritual world. There are often at times that I get messages from the spiritual realm, and I will go to the science realm to understand that concept. Or I will understand something in the science realm, and I will go to my non-physical team to understand what the science have uncovered. And often I see that it's the same information sets slightly in a different way. So I personally you can really learn a lot of things on YouTube, and personally watch like the Royal Institute videos that are available for free, or master classes. There's so much information, or MIT. I read white papers. I really dive into the minutia of things, and because I've raised my vibration and my beliefs are open, I have access now to mentors on the other side. And it's possible for everyone. It's just that it's so a foreign idea that you can access information in the field. And there's a book called The Field. And I recommend anyone to read that, because that explains energy in the field and quantum science.
Is the field then the energy that's around us, surrounding
Yes.
us, that's
So-
there for us to tap into, whether that's communication with non-physical or even that broader power that is flowing through us for creation? Is that generally the understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
The field of potentiality. So
Okay.
Aristotle understood Platonics, and he had an element called ether, and the space between the space is not empty. And science understands that now.
Right. Right.
And that is part of what you tap into, is that field of potentiality and how that interacts, and how things get, when you focus your intention into that field. I liken it as it's steam. Energy gathers, okay? And if you keep your focus on it, that steam then becomes water. And if you keep your focus on that, then that will manifest into your physical reality.
Wow, that's really interesting. I think one of the more mainstream ideas, something that I think a lot of people are starting to understand now, is a study that's been done in physics that has said that the observers actually watching an experiment,
Will
because
change.
they're watching it, their focus changes the result of the experiment. And so we know that now, and I think that's an idea that a lot of us are starting to embrace and understand, that that's science. I think more people can seem to accept science, whatever our technology can, what our technology can prove. And our technology right now hasn't caught up to this ability to prove a lot of these things in the energy field. So, but that we do know, that our observation can change an experiment. So
Exactly.
that's really exciting.
And I think it sounds what you're cracking around and knocking around here with Isabel is just this understanding, as science starts to understand energy flow and how things are moving and these particles, and probably 99% of what exists is the space in between. Only a very small fraction is the matter that we see. So it's all this energy. So the science is studying that, and then here we are in this living our lives in the spiritual side of it. Kind of watching things happen, learning how to play with this, feeling how energy flows, doing that, and sort of seeing those two worlds combine and starting to say, hey. And that's where I was saying earlier, the line's blurring. It really does. Like, you start to see, here's science over here in this room, here's spirituality over this room. They're a mile apart. Each time they have their meetings, then they're half a mile apart, then they're a quarter mile apart. All of a sudden, some of them are in the same room, and it's starting to really move in that understanding.
It is. And because our technology and these two things are not, are starting to come together, to be studied together. People that do this work, like Isabel, that have unlocked this ability, that all of us have, they have unlocked this ability, are oftentimes, looked at as, they don't know what they're talking about, when they're just far, far away ahead of being able to allow these things, these connections, and this, feeling of this energy and understanding, being able to communicate in that way, have unlocked it, where maybe the rest of us have shut it down. We had it when we were born, but we have over time allowed our belief system to shut it down. Isabel saying, she has managed to open her belief system and allow herself to believe in possibilities, this potentiality, this realm of potentiality, so that she's opened us up.
Yeah. So where are you taking this?
Yeah.
then?
So Isabel, you do a little past life regression hypnosis. I think I'm saying that correctly. So
Yes.
What is that exactly, and how would that benefit me, or how do you see it benefits your clients that you work with?
I was guided to look into Dolores Cannon. And she wrote several books, 14, 15, I don't know, a lot of books. And she was a hypnotist and she did past life regressions. And she wrote several books on her findings. She started hypnosis at an Army base to calm down the soldiers going into the Vietnam War. She really was a pioneer in that field. The idea of non-physical entities was touched upon through Joshua, teachings of Joshua, and then, of course, Esther Hicks, who does Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had always believed in reincarnation, even when I was a child, because it didn't make sense that everything is recycled, including the gold in your ring is from the sun before our sun. That's so supernova created gold. So it didn't make sense to me when I heard that it was taught to me that you die and then you go to heaven and that's it. And I was just like, why wouldn't we recycle? And that's what my little thought as a child, you know.
It's cool.
So I was open to doing past life regressions. And when you do past life regressions, you do visit previous lives that are being shown to you by your inner being or higher self. It was not a big stretch for me because it made perfect sense that we would have multiple lives. Not for me. It was an anomaly to think the other way. That didn't make sense to me. So when you visit a past life, it is for you to gain understanding in this life. Because this life is where your focus should lie and where you should be. And then to have a conversation with your inner higher being is life-changing, because then you realize you are not alone. There is something so much more going on, which I liken to hearing your girlfriend say, "Oh, I kissed a boy," and you're very excited and you're like, "Oh, that's nice." But when you kiss a boy, then you're like, "Oh, that's what she was saying." It's
Right.
such a feeling and understanding.
Okay, so that's what it's about. It's about doing something where you allow a person or facilitate them to connect with that higher part of themselves and really just go through something that's interesting to them, and because they're interested in it, then they open up to this communication with their higher self, and it then will help a person to learn things and see things and focus in this life in a way that maybe might lead them more to their soul's purpose. Yes?
Well, so if you do one session, yes, but also when you're energetically worked on, you're being healed. Your inner being can heal something within your body. Your inner being can say, "No, I'm not going to heal your shoulder because you still need that pain, because it's a message for you." I've had inner beings heal eyesight where they didn't need their glasses because there was no needed. I've had inner beings heal the lupus in somebody because it was no longer needed. Yet I had another client that she wasn't healed from her cancer because it was still needed. So they always look at soul work. And then I do 3 sessions because me personally, I'm interested in connecting that door with your inner being. I want to connect that thread from your heart center to your inner being so that you see the signs and that you are guided, and it opens up your psychic door. And so I make sure for every client that comes to see me, I'm like, we're going to open your psychic door. So are you ready?
That's
But
really great.
Gentle guide.
Right. No, I absolutely can see that, as you know, as I know you. So now this new online course that you're developing, that's going to be available for us next month, I think sometime in February. Yes. I'm really excited about that. So what is the design of that course? And it seems like what I've heard from you a little bit is it's very much along the line of this past life regression, but it's about opening up our own individual psychic ability. So tell us a little bit about that design and who you think that would be, really great for.
Yes. So I love somebody learning a new game. So for me, opening up your psychic ability is teaching you a new card game. And in order for you to play a new card game, you've got to play. You got to deal those hands. We can have an open face card game, but I need you to play. I don't want you to read about the card game. I don't want you to really, keep it from a distance. I want you to dive in and play the card game. So those exercises that I created is 21 days, and you get an exercise every day, and it's for you to open up your psychic ability. So there are exercises. I move energy within your body. I open up your mind. I do mind exercises. So I do a variety of exercises with just a little bit of soul work, because I have to reduce your fear in you in order to raise vibration. So really the 21 days is really raising your vibration. And Isabel, why do I want my vibration to raise? It's great to feel good, but I want your vibration to raise, because when I raise your vibration, you're in a higher frequency, which you're in the gamma rate. When you're in the gamma thought process, not the beta and alpha, when you're in the gamma mind, now you can hear them. You can tap into that non-physical energy, because it's subtle energy. It's like a caress. It's not a slap, it's a caress. So that's different. And we are not trained to go into that frequency. But it's just a new card game.
Well, so the gamma range, kind of maybe to say a little bit different, is that's a higher stream. When we talk about it, it's a higher stream of consciousness. So the beta and the alpha would be maybe in some of that human type of consciousness where you're looking around at conditions, you're trying to maybe control things around you, but this vibrational raise is getting you up to where you're getting out of that sort of human element and just into this higher stream of consciousness where now you're in a receiving mode. And this isn't a special gift, right? This is something that we all have capabilities. It's not like that person's a psychic and this is a psychic, that person is and I'm not. We all have the ability to tap into this higher stream of consciousness and start to receive information. And we're making a little bit of some assumptions here that as you're looking at this and interested in this, that you have an agreement or understand that there's more than just us out there. There is a collection of non-physical, and there is this whole database of information and resources and guides and people that or entities that are there to that can support and help you see the bigger picture and guide you into a greater life or expansion than what you can even imagine now at this point.
Yes. So I often tell this story. I say dolphins speak in clicks and squeaks, and humans speak in vowels and consonants. We are programmed as humans. Most humans do speak. I'm not saying that there aren't some humans who are not are mute, and that's for a different reason. But most humans articulate. We have teeth, and we have a tongue, and we have a brain. And so we all have this ability, and the psychic ability is a natural ability. It was never meant not to be used. And so I just want to tell you that psychic just means your soul. And guess what your soul is? Love. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. I'm just asking you to go into the love field. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. We talked about this on the last show just a little bit, and it's a concept that could use its own conversation, because there's people that are going to say you're nuts, you're crazy, in the sense that we're not really thought factories. We're just not really, we think we're so individual, and we think we have our personas and we have our egos and we protect all those things. But when we start to open that up and really say, okay, what is really taking place, and go through processes of learning, we realize we are just like the radio station, the radio tuner that you dial 98.7 or 95.1. When you dial into this particular, station, you're going to hear a song. And when people are listening to a song and they say, I hate this song, they don't sit there and just talk about how they hate it. They change the radio station. And that's kind of how we are. This ability to sort of raise your vibration, change your radio station, hear a different song, and have a different experience. We are receiving this information. We all are. Right. At all times.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting and helpful concept that I've learned through this, and that is that I am completely free because in any moment I can choose my thought. I can choose to change that frequency. And someone like Isabel is here as a facilitator if I might be struggling with that, or interested in doing that in a little bit different way with some help. She facilitates that and helps us to do exercises and do things, hypnosis and the things that she's planning with her course, to be able to open up and change that frequency to receive thoughts that for us feel much better.
Okay, awesome. I want to keep hearing Isabel, because I don't want to keep talking.
I know, right?
Well, I'm curious though. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
What's maybe a cool story of somebody that you've worked with and in this process? Maybe something where you've seen they've actually impacted their life.
So I've put under many clients, and one of the surprising things for me, I was going to do the work regardless, but I had seen such a difference in the people's energy and life after 3 sessions. I went to my non-physical mentors and I said, what is going on? Like psychotherapy for 20 years, I'm seeing a change in 1 session or 3 sessions. Like, what is going on? And they said, my child, you are passing the ego. You are collaborating with the universe. We are changing their frequency and energy. They are vibrating higher. Their whole world has opened.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, it's such an honor that I get to do this work and see such a transformation in all my clients. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Personally, it's a no-brainer. Whether you see me or someone else, do it. Do it. Push past your fear, because to work with the non-physical and the universe is amazing.
Do you find, Isabel, that the changes are not only just in how someone feels in general, but do you see changes in outward things and their actual physical reality? And what kinds of changes do you see like that?
So I see them change their jobs. I see them getting in relationships. I see them physically look different. I see them happy. I see their psychic abilities turned on. I see them just in love with life, because once you know you are not alone and that we're all connected and you feel that, that's priceless. I mean, for the folks that are listening who haven't had a session, it's still a story. You haven't been kissed.
I like that.
Well,
That's
I know
really
there's
cool.
viewers that are gonna just connect with you, and I think for us, and the journey has been that we can have a tendency to hold on to things from the past, and if you can find a way to work with someone like yourself where you can release that and start to realize the perfection in the things in your life that have got you to where you are in this moment, and raise up and move to another level where then, and you're talking about all these changes in their people's lives, but what's happening, what I see with what your work is that the person themselves is changing, and they're really changing from the inside out and realizing their powers inside of themselves. So then universally, those conditions around them just have to change. They have to become the perfection of what that is to be perfect for that person. We call it, if you're rowing a boat upstream, let go of the oars, just let go, and go with the flow, and really that type of ease and fun and joy and things back into your life.
Yeah, that makes, and helping, I mean, I'm sure, Isabel, one of the biggest things that you probably see with people is that they become more able to be in the moment, to stay in right now. And I think that, that is a big key. Just like you said, stop, the releasing of the past and the focusing on the past, being able to accept the past. You don't have to love it, but accept it, that it was all led you to where you are.
Yeah.
And then, the letting go of the fear and the worry of the future, and just staying right now, because that's where all of the power in the right now is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And then do you have to go through the past life regression, or is that something you can just do along with, working with you? If I wanted to do, 2 or 3 sessions or a session with you, I may not be interested in past life regression. Is that necessary, or is that just a caveat, or, something extra that you could bring in?
So I never have any control whatsoever around your session.
Okay.
Always guided by your inner being. And there are some sessions that we do not go into a life. There are some sessions where we work with you just energetically. And then there's sessions that you actually channel your inner being first, and then they show lives. So I'm just your Julie McCoy on your cruise.
You're the cooperative component of,
Right.
of growth
I'm
and
just your-
expansion.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And you're
Perfect.
you're incredible,
Yeah,
Isabel.
so
We-
much fun. Yeah, everybody out there has to know.
I remember when
spending time
we
with
first met
is great.
Isabel at Gary Temple Bodley's place, where we had a
So-
Joshua retreat, and you just lit up when
Yeah.
we saw you.
Yeah,
There's
so-
many people there, and they all lit up. But
Yeah.
you're very special
So,
to us. yeah.
Isabel, can you quickly tell our viewers how they can find you?
Yes, all you have to remember is attracting wisdom, because I am all about wisdom for you and for me. And so you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I have attractingwisdom.com, and
Perfect.
you can reach out to me.
All right, that's wonderful. Isabel, thanks for being with us today. You guys, you can reach That CBD Show at hello@thatcbd.show. I said it right?
You got it right.
All right, thanks everybody for being with us today. Thanks again, Isabel. We will see you all next
See you
time
next
on
time.
That CBD Show.